The White House buzzed with unusual energy. It wasn't a typical diplomatic dinner or a ceremonial gala. This event had something different. A surprise invitation had been quietly making its way through some of the most unexpected circles. One of them had landed squarely in the hands of none other than comedian, HBO host, and self-declared liberal provocateur Bill Maher. Is this a prank? Maher had chuckled while sipping espresso in his Beverly Hills home as his assistant read the invitation out loud. Host, Kid Rock. Venue, the White House. Date, March 31st, 2025. Dress code, whatever the hell you want. Note, you're invited. Yes, seriously. The president is cool with it. Dana White, president of the UFC and longtime Trump loyalist, had also received his invitation. That wasn't shocking. But Bill Maher? The man who had roasted Trump for years on national television? I'm either walking into a roast or a revolution, Maher quipped to his crew as they brainstormed that Friday night's show. But hey, if Trump can handle me at his dinner table, maybe we're living in a simulation. Back in D.C., the White House had undergone a transformation for the evening. Not the kind with crystal chandeliers and violins. No, this was classic Kid Rock chaos meets presidential flair. Electric guitars lined the entrance, the front lawn had been converted into a makeshift country concert stage, and Secret Service agents wore aviator sunglasses that matched their black leather jackets. President Donald J. Trump, now in his second term, had fully leaned into his role as the people's president. He was known for surprise media appearances, brutally honest Twitter rants, and now, apparently, for hosting off-the-record parties with the most unlikeliest mix of guests. But why invite Bill Maher? According to insiders, it was Kid Rock's idea. He's been running his mouth for years, Kid Rock reportedly said to Trump. Why not let him see the real deal? Trump had laughed. I like that. Let's see what the guy really thinks when he's not on camera. So it happened. March 31st, 2025. Bill Maher landed in D.C. in a private jet, looking more like a curious tourist than a man about to break political norms. He wore a sleek blazer over a dark t-shirt that read, "Offended? Good." Classic Maher. Dana White arrived just ahead of him, fist-bumping Marines and cracking jokes with the kitchen staff. He'd been here countless times and felt at home. But Maher? He walked through the front door with a mix of sarcasm and awe. Wow. I haven't seen this many country flags since a Kid Rock concert in Kentucky, he murmured. He was escorted inside by a surprisingly cheerful aide. Moments later, as he entered the main reception room, he locked eyes with the man himself. Donald Trump stood near a towering golden eagle sculpture, sipping Diet Coke with one hand and shaking hands with conservative influencers with the other. Their eyes met. Tom slowed for a moment. Then Trump smiled. Bill, you actually came. I thought you'd send a bomb instead. Maher smirked. I left it in my hotel room. The room erupted in laughter. What followed that night would surprise everyone, including Maher himself. March 31st, 2025, 8:15 p.m. The White House dining hall. The long mahogany dinner table was nothing like the stiff, starched affairs Bill Maher had expected. Instead, it was loaded with grilled ribs, Tennessee whiskey, fried green tomatoes, and a row of Coors Light cans stacked like a redneck trophy collection. There were no tuxedos or gowns. Instead, Kid Rock wore a Stars and Stripes jacket with ripped jeans. Dana White rocked a custom UFC X MAGA bomber. And President Trump? He was in a navy suit with a red tie, but his usual flair came from the gold cufflinks shaped like bald eagles. And then there was Bill Maher sitting between Dana White and Candace Owens, who greeted him with a smile that could either kill or convert. Dinner began with light banter. Trump roasted Dana White about being too nice to fighters in contract negotiations. Kid Rock tossed a beer can down the table to Ted Nugent, who was already playing air guitar with a butter knife. But it wasn't long before the table quieted. Trump leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. So Bill, why'd you really come? Maher dabbed his lips with a napkin and grinned. Well, Mr. President, when Kid Rock invites you to the White House for a redneck rave, you don't say no. You write new material. Laughter again, even Trump cracked a smile. But seriously, Maher continued, shifting tone. I came because we're living in the dumbest timeline, and maybe the only way to fix it is for people who hate each other online to at least eat ribs together in person. Trump nodded slowly, then surprised the room. You know, I used to hate your guts. Maher laughed. The feeling was mutual. But I've been watching you lately, Trump said, leaning in. You're one of the only liberals who at least tries to say what he really thinks, even if it pisses off your own side. That's rare. There was a pause. Maher wasn't expecting that. Neither was Candace Owens, who raised an eyebrow and muttered, Is this a truce? Dana White grinned and broke the silence. Hell, this is like watching Batman and Joker have a beer. Maher took a sip of whiskey and replied, more like Lex Luthor and Superman. But I'll let the audience figure out which is which. Then Trump made another move. Tell me this, Trump said. You've been in showbiz for decades. You know media, the country, the crowd. You tell jokes that piss off the left and you bash me harder than CNN ever could. But you still have an audience. You haven't been cancelled. Why? Maher didn't hesitate. Because I'm honest, he said. I say what people are thinking but are too scared to say. Same as you. Trump nodded. And maybe, Maher continued, we're both addicted to attention. Even Trump laughed at that. Guilty as charged. The conversation shifted into deeper territory. The dinner party, initially wild and chaotic, had now transformed into something no one expected, an honest exchange of opposing views in the people's house. Candace Owens leaned forward. Do you think liberals even understand this version of Trump? She asked Maher. Maher shrugged. Most of them never met the guy. They only know the media version. Trump turned to Maher. So what do you think of the real version? The table went silent. Maher took a breath and looked around. I think he's funnier than I expected, smarter than the left admits, and more dangerous because people underestimate him. There it was. Raw honesty. Kid Rock slapped the table. Damn. That's why I wanted this guy here. Trump grinned. Not a compliment, but I'll take it. The rest of the evening shifted after that. The jokes got better. The conversation got weirder. And somewhere between dessert and Dana White's impersonation of Joe Biden tripping on stairs, Bill Maher found himself saying something he never imagined. You know what? I don't agree with this guy. But I'm glad I came. Outside the windows, Washington, D.C. kept spinning. Inside the White House, a dinner that no one believed would happen was already changing minds. April 1st, 2025, morning after the dinner. Los Angeles, New York, D.C., the entire media universe. No one expected what came next. While the dinner had been billed as off the record, the White House hadn't confiscated phones, a move that would soon haunt the night's privacy. Somewhere between the jokes and the whiskey toasts, a short, 48-second clip was quietly recorded on someone's iPhone. That clip, posted at 6:41 a.m. on a Burner X, formerly Twitter, account, would go viral within hours. The grainy video showed Bill Maher raising a glass, laughing with President Trump, Kid Rock, and Dana White. Then came the real kicker, clear as day. You know what? Maher said in the clip. I've been wrong about some things. Trump's not Hitler. He's not Satan. He's just Trump. And honestly, compared to some of the woke mob on the left, he almost makes more sense these days. The internet exploded. By 9 a.m., the video had crossed 10 million views. By noon, CNN was running a breaking news ticker. Bill Maher defends Trump at White House dinner? Meanwhile, Fox News had a different take. Bill Maher comes to his senses? Social media was divided. Liberals screamed betrayal, conservatives cheered redemption. And Bill Maher? He woke up in his D.C. hotel room to 1,372 unread messages, a dozen missed calls, and a panicked email from his HBO producer that read, "Please tell me this is some kind of comedy stunt." Maher stared at his phone, groaned, and muttered, "So this is what it feels like to get cancelled," from both sides. But it didn't stop there. By afternoon, Whoopi Goldberg was on The View, clutching her pearls and asking, what the hell is happening? Bill Maher, breaking bread with Trump? What's next? Jon Stewart golfing with Marjorie Taylor Greene? On the flip side, Tucker Carlson, now running his own independent show on X, grinned ear to ear. This, he said on air, is the crack in the wall. When even Bill Maher starts admitting the emperor has no clothes, the woke left starts to panic. Even Trump himself got in on the action. By 3 p.m. he had posted to Truth Social. Bill Maher, a smart guy, though still wrong about most things, came to dinner last night and was shocked to find out I'm actually a nice guy. America, we're winning hearts and minds, even from Hollywood. Thanks, Bill. You're welcome back anytime. Poultry leg United States fire. Kid Rock chimed in with a post that simply said, "Told ya. Dinner of the damn decade. #America." Maher, now fully aware of the media firestorm, had a decision to make: go quiet and let it blow over, or own it. He chose the latter. Later that evening, he tweeted from his official account. "Yes, I went to the dinner. Yes, Trump was there. Yes, I laughed. Why? Because talking is better than yelling. And ribs are better than tweets. Deal with it." That tweet gained over 700,000 likes and 250,000 quote tweets. The quote tweets? A wild mix. You sold your soul, Maher. Welcome to the club. Took you long enough? Dude really said Trump makes more sense and expects liberals not to implode. But perhaps the most surprising reply came from Elon Musk, who simply posted, "Fire respect. Dinner diplomacy is underrated." Behind the scenes, Maher's phone continued buzzing. HBO executives were nervous. Sponsors were confused. Twitter trolls were energized. But Bill? He was calm. "Let them scream," he told a friend over coffee the next day. "At least we talked." That's more than Congress has done in 5 years. As the nation reeled from the video clip, no one could deny it. Something had shifted. The country had just witnessed a rare moment of civility between two men who built careers off confrontation, and it shook the media, the parties, and the public to their core. Across America, from Hollywood studios to heartland diners, the aftershocks from the now infamous White House dinner clip were just getting started. Within 48 hours, Bill Maher went from being the liberal darling of biting satire to public enemy #1 among his usual audience. Progressive groups called for boycotts. A viral hashtag #CancelMaher, trended for 2 straight days. The writer's room at HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher was in chaos. Several junior staffers walked out, saying they couldn't work for someone who normalizes fascism. Bill responded with classic Maher sarcasm. "I didn't know eating ribs meant you were enabling a dictatorship. Do they have a handbook for this?" But it wasn't just angry interns and Twitter mobs. Several celebrities whom Maher had considered friends suddenly went radio silent. One famous actress, who'd appeared on Real Time twice, tweeted, "Bill Maher used to be the voice of reason. Now he's the voice at Trump's table." And then came the real bombshell. HBO sent a formal notice. Due to ongoing public controversy, they were re-evaluating the continuation of Real Time after the current season. Maher had faced network pressure before, but this felt different. His response: go live. On April 4th, Maher opened his Friday night show with no intro music. No monologue, just a chair, a glass of water, and a camera pointed straight at him. "Let's clear this up," he began. "I went to the White House. I laughed. I ate chicken wings. And I realized something most people online will never understand. Nuance still matters." He spoke for 10 minutes, no jokes, no laugh track. "I didn't become a Trump supporter. But I also didn't lose my mind. The guy I sat with wasn't screaming racist slogans or calling for coups. He was talking about the border, inflation, and Taylor Swift's ex-boyfriend. Yeah, really." He added, "And you know what? It's possible to disagree with someone without wanting to banish them from society." The live segment earned 19 million views in under 24 hours across all platforms. It wasn't just liberals watching. Conservatives, moderates, even apolitical Gen Z TikTokers shared clips, calling it one of the most honest TV moments in years. But the real twist? Donald Trump called in. Unscripted, unfiltered. "Bill," he said, "I didn't think I'd say this, but you've got balls. Most people wouldn't sit down with me, let alone be honest about it. Respect." The crowd, stunned, applauded. Maher laughed. "We live in a weird time, Mr. President. But maybe honesty still counts for something." Trump replied, "Next time, I'll bring dessert." That short exchange triggered a nationwide frenzy. Suddenly, pundits and politicians across the aisle began talking about talking. Conservative commentator Ben Shapiro said, "I disagree with Maher 95% of the time, but he's proven he's not a coward." Meanwhile, podcaster Joe Rogan declared, "This might be the most culturally important dinner since Jesus broke bread." Even Dave Chappelle weighed in during a surprise comedy club set. Bill Maher walked into the White House and made Trump laugh. That's not selling out. That's stand-up diplomacy. While Maher was dealing with fire from the left, he was building something strange and powerful on the right. Suddenly, conservative-leaning independents, old-school centrists, and even a chunk of libertarians began rallying around him. And quietly, so did someone else. Dana White. The UFC president texted Maher 2 words the morning after the show aired. "Let's talk." Within days, a plan was brewing. Something that had never happened before. An idea to host a nationwide town hall event, moderated by Bill Maher and Dana White, with guests from all sides of the political spectrum. including President Trump himself. A no-holds-barred and censored one-night special. Tentative title, Uncancellable. A conversation America needs. Networks were already bidding. HBO passed. Netflix called. Twice. April 20th, 2025, the night of the broadcast. Location, the MGM Grand Garden Arena, Las Vegas. Under the dazzling lights of Las Vegas, a different kind of show was about to begin. On a massive stage framed by American flags and a red, white, and blue LED wall sat 5 chairs. In them, Bill Maher, Dana White, Kid Rock, and to the right, President Donald J. Trump. To the left, filling the final chair at the last minute, Tulsi Gabbard. The event, titled Uncancellable, A Conversation America Needs, wasn't like any political broadcast ever seen before. It wasn't pre-scripted, it wasn't packed with pundits, and it wasn't filtered by legacy media. It streamed live on Netflix, YouTube, and X. Viewers, 79 million and counting. The opening moments were electric. Maher took the mic. I've spent the last 25 years roasting politicians, including the man sitting next to me, he said, glancing at Trump. But tonight, we're going to try something revolutionary in 2025. We're going to talk. No shouting, no canceling, no filters. Just brutal honesty. The crowd roared. Trump nodded, adjusting his signature red tie. I like this new bill, he quipped. He's got more courage than half of Washington. The conversation jumped from topic to topic. The media industrial complex. Woke culture's grip on comedy and entertainment. Foreign policy blunders from both parties. Inflation, gas prices, crime, border security. The upcoming 2026 midterms. Maher didn't go easy on Trump, not for a second. He challenged him on January 6th on controversial tweets on his stance toward climate change. Trump, surprisingly, didn't get defensive. In fact, at one point, he said, I'll admit it, I pushed too hard on Twitter. I should have hired a damn editor. Maybe Bill. The audience cracked up. Even Maher couldn't help but smile. Then Kid Rock jumped in. Look, I didn't bring everyone together just to sing Sweet Home Alabama. I'm sick of this country acting like we're at war with ourselves. We're not enemies, we're Americans. Left, right, whatever, we all want our country to be less stupid. Dana White, always blunt, added. We need fighters, not quitters. Bill and Trump are both fighters. Different corners, but same ring. And that's how we fix this mess. The most emotional moment came when a video message was played live from Jon Stewart, who had famously criticized Trump for years and often clashed with Maher. Jon's video said, I don't agree with a lot of what was said tonight. But you know what? I respect the hell out of all of you for sitting down and doing what Congress refuses to, listening. That's not weakness. That's strength. The arena went silent, then erupted. A standing ovation followed. As the evening drew to a close, Maher turned to the audience and to the millions watching at home. You're going to hear a lot of spin after tonight. They'll call this a stunt, a sellout, a circus. But what I hope you saw was a possibility. That the culture war doesn't have to destroy the country. That we don't have to live on opposite sides of a glass wall. Trump added, whether you love me or hate me, I'm still going to fight for this country. But tonight wasn't about me. It was about realizing we've got more in common than we think. Even with Bill Maher. Maher, smiling, raised his glass of bourbon. To America. Flawed, loud, crazy, beautiful, and still worth saving. The crowd went wild. And just like that, the most unexpected alliance in modern American history had taken root, not out of love, but out of mutual respect. Not agreement, but engagement. And in a nation so deeply divided, that rare spark of civil discourse felt almost revolutionary. The aftermath? Netflix greenlit a limited docu-series on the event within 72 hours. HBO asked to resume negotiations with Maher. Trump's approval among independent voters ticked up 4%, and a new term began trending on social media. Dinner diplomacy. As for Bill Maher, he didn't become a Republican. He didn't join Trump's campaign, but he became something even rarer in 2025. A freethinker who sat at the table and changed the game.